It's new content drop day. Or is it? A lot of stuff seems to be coming out on the 13th of August, but I'm sure Kabam have something for this week rather than it all being dropping next week, including a Battlegrounds season. Anyway, it's the MCN. Let's see what's happening in the world of Marvel Contest of Champions. Just quickly, Trello board for last week, stuff that Kabam were looking into. Doombots are missing portions of their kit. I've run out of time to cover Doombots. Maybe that's something I should have done. Maybe like a video topic if everything calms down with it in MCOC. But I tell you what, I've missed to do any coverage about those champions. Look, they could be quite handy for upcoming content. If you've got to use 2 stars in something like Crucible, mini Crucible that is, then they could be interesting options. But at this given stage, their kits are quite unique, quite special, but a team of them would be quite nifty and quite nice at the same time. But apparently they're missing portions of their kit. Hopefully that gets looked into and fixed in time. Electra is currently reducing evade chance more than intended, and high evolutionary's abilities are triggering off of other champions' traps and zones. Annoying, of course, for defense if you're playing off against them in something like Alliance Wars. Dimensional Arcade solo objectives are not triggering for some players. And of course, Doom Cycle, whether you like it or not, is either good, bad, ugly, or you're going to completely avoid it. I don't know why. There's units there and you don't have to pay any money for them. On to something that was quite cool and pointed out. If you go to the Fantastic Four's rank up gem, you will see that it does say Super Skrull and Psycho Man as potential 7 stars. Have Kabam alluded to these 2 champions coming in as 7 stars in the future? Well, quite possibly, but not at the moment. Funny enough, Kabamasaurus Rex said these champions don't exist yet. Will they someday? Probably. Will these items work on them when they do? Yes. By the way, if you haven't seen Clarkson's farm, then you'll know. Then you might know about the bull Endgame and what's his name? Endgame. I thought that's clever because this is a Marvel game and Marvel, Avengers Endgame. Endgame. If you've seen it, you'll know. If you haven't seen Clarkson's Farm, which is a real brilliant show, if you don't like Clarkson, that's fine. But if you like the fact of agriculture, farming, which I'm surrounded by farms where I live, like it's just very much true to that and the plight of the UK farmer and what they have to go through. Well, all farmers when it comes to I'm not going to go into too many details. Watch the show. Next story. Next up, Patriot buff. Is it live? Is it good? There was also a bit of a mistake yesterday. Because of my scuffed ass, I posted a video about MODOK, which was the unbuffed version. I thought I was playing the buff version. It was not. I'm scuffed. I'm very, very tired. So anyway, do you think that the champion has indeed seen the buff? Unfortunately, we're not allowed to call it a buff. We've got to call it a rebalance. And yes, the whole kind of story around it. Kabam Rex gave a kind of response to these kind of like tune-ups, because apparently you're not allowed to. I don't know, you're allowed to call these reworks, tune-ups, buffs, rebalances. They've got their own kind of like little category of what they are, what they do, and what function they serve. Because again, there's this misconception of how Kabam are doing their batch system of reworks, tune-ups, and updates that, of course, have seen some, but not some changes that players might like, but others that maybe didn't really kind of like have that extra oomph in damage for it. So Kabam Saurus Rex, Cry Mark says, we posted about the shift to batch updates a few months ago. There are various reasons why we shifted to batch releases instead of the old system. One of them being it does give us more time to full review where we can make sure if a champion needs a tune-up, they got one. At the end of the day, Patriot was already doing what he was supposed to do. The disagree count in the video I linked doesn't change the fact that Patriot can perform. It's totally fine. Not like him. I don't personally enjoy using him, and I will never sit here and try to convince you to use a champion you don't vibe with. But he's been obliterating higher ranked photons in 40 seconds in Battlegrounds since he was released. I think as well, somebody posted, I definitely saw on X, somebody posted a video of a like Patriot doing some real amazing damage in Alliance Wars. So there is definite kind of like, you know, viability there. After the buff, he'll be doing it even faster and easier. It isn't about waiting to release his buff. It's about having an orderly process that allows the team to do their best work without having to crunch the unrealistic timelines. And back to the original post, just for a little bit of context. Tested is Monetized now, seems no different at all, apart from steadfast buff being gained earlier. I am missing something, or was there a total waste of 7 months in making? Still can't get over the length of time these balances are taking. I have zero hopes for Torres now. And of course, it's just down to your own opinion of what you see about the champions, how you feel about them. You know, stronger and longer physical vulnerability ruptures now last less time, but do the same amount of damage for shorter fights. Extended heavy charge duration for the lower threshold of steadfast. So there we go. That's kind of gives you a bit of an idea of that buff. But are you seeing any improvements in any of these new champions? I've still got to do videos on them, but man, I'm so annoyed with myself for kind of like messing up with the MODOK video, because it did set me back, and it didn't start early with me content coverage on Tuesday night. A big question for a lot of players is, when will we see certain 7 stars? Omega Days is going to have a lot of those champions go into the Titan Crystal, I think, coming up. So the opportunity to get, or is it the Titan Crystal or the Basic? It's one of the two. There's an opportunity to get the champions that were behind paywalls. Now, is that something, or it's not really paywalls, but excessive unit investment walls? Hopefully the paywall-based champions will come into be owned by you and me, because there's some good champions out there. But anyway, yes, monetization events indeed, Dr. Zola. But the champions like Nimrod, Silver Centurion, Starlord, Toad, Jubilee, Cable, Cassie, Miles, Wasp, Yellow Jacket, Agent Venom, Stealth Spidey, Champion, Thor, Icarus, Mephisto, Morningstar, Clairvoyant. Definite questions about whether they're going to be available as 7 stars in the future. I think this is a bit of an overreaction here from Karate Mike, because it's just like asking a realistic question. Maybe this is something for Kabam Crashed as opposed to like this response here, because I think the community just wants to look for hope around some of these like high rarity champions, like a 7-star Cassie Lang. Some people will be interested in that. You know, what about a 7-star Cable? Well, some people might be interested in that. A 7-star Nimrod, for sure. I know a lot of people interested with mutant-based killers. However, with the likes of Bastion, Jack-O-Lantern, and various other techs that have come into game. Also, there's a little bit of info here around the Rebirth selector, I think. Yeah, question was, could you please provide another thread about whether there will be a limit on Rebirth selectors, considering you can get 6 tokens in total, which means 2 selectors, or no? And the confirmation is each selector pool will cost 3 tokens. There are more than 3 tokens this year, so you can obtain more than one. I'm not sure where 6 tokens comes into play, because there's stuff within the Crucible, but maybe there's something else elsewhere with that. But yeah, we'll have to 100% find out on that, because I know some people will kind of like open up the Crucible, Rebirth crystals, get some champions, then look to the selector for Awakening, or go in a different route of what they didn't get to then complete their Rebirth champion selection for whoever they want. And it's not just about one. You know, I want to get Sabretooth and Dr. Voodoo. Maybe I want to get one more. I don't know what's available as a non-spending player. We will have to see. I don't know if this is an apology from Karate Mike, because obviously that I read it earlier as being, it was kind of a little bit not condescending, but it was just like a bit abrupt, if anything. But like, I mean, here's the thing: if you're reading my questions in a condescending tone, then I'm sorry it came across that way. Tone through text is often interpreted the way you want to be reading it. That's the one thing like I've hated about like text and that kind of like means of communication over the years. It's so much better to do like face-to-face based kind of interaction as opposed to kind of like via text, because everybody just interprets stuff without kind of like understanding stuff. Like, I mean, here's one example. Like, people always thought that I was like really angry about stuff because I've got deep ridges on my eyes and I've got very thin eyebrows. So people just thought I was like constantly like this. Like, you can see like there, like there's the indent of kind of scowling, right? This is me normal. This is me surprised. Like, I have to constantly go through videos being constantly surprised because people would go, "Oh, why are you so angry about stuff?" Well, I'm not being angry. I'm being normal. I've just got, sunken ridges and very thin eyebrows. Of course, a bit of an answer on that kind of a Mega Day situation. I just announced the Mega Days coming to the base pool about 48 hours ago. So while those champions just mentioned aren't in the pool yet, I said there's solid chances we'll see them there eventually. The reality is the game is a very different place it was 6 years ago when we were dropping 6 stars. You're right, double tracks didn't exist, neither did milestone tracks. We didn't have large events celebrating the release of pool champions. There are a small number of game modes featured 6 stars, and that's about it. And Joe not sitting here saying every champ needs to be released for money or only money. Money has nothing to do with what we're talking about here. Next month you choose the Rebirth champions. It'll be available for free. And they are even getting buffed at pretty solid additions. Yep. And of course, I mean, I do agree that like paywall side of things, the monetization around M2C is just, it's abhorrent, really. It's disgusting. It borders close to disgusting, or if not on disgusting. But there's nothing you can do. Like, there's like, unless somebody buys out the company or buys out Netmarble, you can't change it. Like, the Kabam aren't going to change it. Netmarble won't allow Netmarble won't allow Kabam to change it. But anyway, also keep in mind that we used to rolling out more older champions in the Titan. I personally liked how, however, we shifted that strategy to include more newer champions in the Crystal, since the feedback was overwhelmingly rooted in pulling older champions, being a poor Titan experience. We'll see what the future as well. Like, Red Hulk fans, yeah. Lots of people got Red Hulk. But what are your thoughts around monetization? Of course, these Titan champions, and champions from monetization events going into the Titan Crystal eventually. Do you want more 7 stars going in there? What are your thoughts? Of course, comment section, please. Now, we're going to end the show on something a little bit more light-hearted. Dark Mirror's mystery synergy for Casandra Nova theories. Yes, Dark Mirrors. What could that be associated with? Who do you think it's going to be? A lot of people have been speculating. I've definitely seen like a really decent thread linked in the description of what it could be. So if we go completely literal with it and go, okay, Dark Mirror's comic book story arc, there was an X-Men Dark Mirror comic book, and the story isn't actually one of the best stories of the X-Men, I must admit. There is a character called Jonas Maguire, Dr. Maguire, who is a mutant with powers, out to get revenge on the X-Men, and kind of like takes the consciousness of the people of the X-Men and puts them in those that are in an asylum. And then it's a big kind of face-off at the end. But that he and Dr. Jonas Maguire turns out to be a mutant himself, but there's nothing really to it with that story, to be honest, because it's not a notable character. Where there could be some interest is there could be a Deadpool character, which is called Mirror. It's a bit of a stretch, honestly. It is a very bit of a stretch with that. And I was trying to think, like, what's the link? Is there anything, like, significant or interesting about this? Well, there is a Black Mirror in the Marvel Universe. There is a link to Nico Minoru, which, again, makes some sort of sense. But I'm going to go with a prediction of Clea. I think that in the future, we are going to see, whether it be for Doctor Strange 3, Clea in some sort of capacity. This, again, would make sense of having, like, would we have a Mystic-based champion in game with Clea? Quite possibly. Maybe yes, maybe no. But yeah, this is what I'm going with, is what I think is going to be the synergy-based champion for that. I could be wrong, or maybe it's something where there's a champion that has power. There's a character that has Marvel character with reflection-based abilities, and that is what it is. So yeah, what do you think it's going to be? Put it in the comments. Check out some other content located on screen. Have a lovely day. I'll see you soon for some coverage of whatever we're covering. Bye. Bye-bye.